Welcome to the original Theme Park Podcast. This is your announcer, Neil Patrick Harris. And now, CoasterRadio.com.
Okay. Yeah. Yesterday when I recorded the flash briefing, I was in the nursery actually physically, and Emma was right there sleeping. And so that's why I sort of put that in as a joke. But no, I'm here at home.
Okay.
Yeah. Just exhausted. Hey everybody, welcome to the live look-in. So this is going to be a fun episode because I think EB and I are both sub 100%. Don't you think? You're not
Mike
feeling
has
well.
a better excuse than me.
Yeah, but
I'm just sick.
Yeah. All right, let's do this then. Let's do this and knock this out. Hang on, let me check one more thing just to make sure the audience at home is good. All right, here we go. And Dwayne, I think you are in the chat room. We're going to do this in real time, so you're the last segment of the show. We'll come to you right after we get to the news and stuff. Good deal, man. Here we go. Thanks for being here, everybody. Okay, rolling. Check 1, 2. And here we go. Look at this. I've got a full... I don't even know when the last time is I shaved. Yeah, full beard, man. All right, here we go. Hi, everybody, and welcome to the original Theme Park Podcast. You are listening to CoasterRadio.com. My name is Mike. I am sitting here with EB. We're ready for another great week of theme park talk.
Another great week of theme park talk, Mike. We are not 100%. This is not great. This is the off season of CoasterRadio.com, and we are not dedicated fully to theme parks and roller coasters. I'm sick trying to get my Christmas decorations up in the 20-degree weather out here in Indiana, and you're out there just having babies.
Yeah, that's right. This is the very first episode of Coaster Radio I have ever done as a dad. I'm actually.
Oh, look at that!
I can't believe it. I'm actually somebody's father. Can you believe that?
Big Papa.
Yeah, that's right. So. Yeah, man. And so here's the thing. Like, it has been a week of nothing but excitement. Baby Emma came on November 18th. And so you heard the show last week, which EB and I had recorded a month earlier, just kind of waiting for that. But this is the first time doing Coaster Radio as a dad for me. But the hilarious part is I have literally been getting, since we went into labor, since we went to the hospital, I've been getting probably 2 to 3 hours of sleep every night. I think that's
about right.
Yeah. So it was so funny, like prepping the rundown for Coaster Radio today. I was literally dozing off and falling asleep, and I started looking at all the rundown of stories, and I was like, "Oh my God!" For the last week, I have not been keeping up with any of this stuff. So thankfully, we're gonna have some help later on in the show today.
That's right. So we'll still get to all this stuff. But later on, we got Dwayne, who was down at IAPA with the Coaster Addict. So he's going to give us the IAPA wrap-up. It's Baby IAPA is a little bit late here on Coaster Radio. The IAPA coverage is anyway. But it's coming up in the second half of the show after we've had some time to digest it, think about it. Now we're covering that story here on the podcast to remind you guys what happened. But Mike, first half of the show is going to start with the first drop.
This is what I call some dedication, EB. I'm going on 0 sleep. You're sick, but we're here, man, doing the news. Let's do it. What do you say?
Let's do it, Mike. We've had all sorts of problems, and Six Flags has problems. That's their first drop.
Yeah. So this is something, honestly, I was hoping that you'd be at 100% for this because I was reading this article, and I'm so exhausted. I was trying to process it all. But I was like, I don't get it. I don't have enough working brain cells at the moment to do this. But let's try to get through it here. Because you're right, Six Flags is having a little bit of trouble in the state of Illinois.
In the state of Illinois. So there's a specific law that's been passed in Illinois statutes or whatever, and it has to do with the collection of biometric data. And I guess Six Flags, when you go to pick up your season pass or your Diamond Gold Elite fingerprint membership, they collect your fingerprint, and that's collecting your biometric information. And in the state of Illinois, they can't do that if it's going to cause any sort of harm. And well, this kid, he went and picked up his season pass, came home, said, Mom, I got my season pass, and I gave him my fingerprint. Mom's not happy about that. She never gave permission for them to collect his fingerprints. So now she's suing Six Flags, and it's kind of a big deal.
Yeah, and I guess the deal is this law in Illinois basically says you have to be a person aggrieved. So there has to be some type of injury that comes as a result of you giving over your thumbprint or somebody taking your thumbprint. And Six Flags is basically saying, like, hey, what is the definition of aggrieved? I don't think that you're aggrieved. Nothing bad has happened to you. And so what this is, it's actually going to a higher court now. And so a lot of people are checking this out, especially Facebook. There's like a pending lawsuit against Facebook with a similar type story. Google is looking into this too. So a lot of people are watching this Six Flags lawsuit to see if it gets dismissed or if they are having to pay the fine, because basically that's going to change a lot about how all this biometric stuff works, not only in the parks, but, you know, in a lot of different businesses.
Yeah, so the statute stipulates that if they're doing business, they have to obtain explicit written consent. Otherwise, the fines are $1,000 each violation or $5,000 if there's a reckless violation. But those fines are not enforced by the state. That only opens up lawsuits.
Yeah.
So the state's not going to go in and do something about it. And like you were saying, if you're going to put a lawsuit against somebody, you have to be aggrieved somehow. You have to have some sort of claim of damages of some sort. And so now they're saying, you know, what does that mean? What is damages? Is it enough that this mom doesn't want her kid's fingerprints taken? Is the holding of his fingerprints enough damage? And so if it goes forward, it could be a really big deal. So it's something to watch because, like you said, I mean, this is well beyond the theme park industry. But if it goes through, I mean, the potential here, just like with any sort of legal thing, you know, it's probably not going to amount to anything.
Yeah.
But if you're talking $5,000 each person who could possibly be aggrieved in this, that's hundreds of millions of dollars for Six Flags, right? Possibly billions.
Yeah. And that's how you have to look at it. When I first looked at those numbers, I was like, oh, that's a slap on the wrist. But when you multiply it by thousands and hundreds of thousands and millions, oh, yeah. That would. So Six Flags is wanting to win this pretty badly. Here's my question. And this is when it would be great to have some type of computer expert or security expert on, especially somebody who knows biometrics, to really talk about what really could happen if somebody were to crack, you know, or get their way into the Six Flags servers and steal all of the fingerprint ID. I'm sure that it's all scrambled and that you just, you know, there's no way that you could take it and use it accurately, but who knows? Who knows these days? You know, there's so many different ways for people to, you know, do identity theft and all that stuff, and more we're starting to see thumbprints and biometrics being used, you know, for ID beyond the parks.
Yeah, I mean, that's the whole thing, right? If they've got a database of this information, that's a pretty valuable database. Whether or not it's encoded or what, if you can figure it out and get that, just like any sort of information that's being stored, has to be stored properly. So there's the aggrievement is where does that come in?
Yeah, and so I wonder really, though, I mean, this is what the parks want to use because it really stops people from sharing the pass. You know, like if you've got a brother who kind of looks like you might be able to share the pass with him and say, oh, you know, as you walk by, even if your photo's on the thing, oh no, that's me, I just got a haircut, I look a little different.
Sure.
You know, the biometrics, especially, like I remember the first time ever using biometrics was at the Disney parks, you know, when they would scan your pass and you got to put your thumbprint on there and stuff, basically so you can't then pass that on to somebody else. Or even worse, like buy a 5-day pass like they used to have, use 2 days of it, and then sell the others for a profit. That's what they're trying to stop you from doing.
Exactly. So, I mean, this is something that the parks want to use, that everybody wants to use, like the article is saying here. So we'll have to keep an eye on this and see how the lawsuit goes. I'm sure it's all going to be fine, and it's all going to go away, and it's going to be like, oh, yeah, we didn't mean to make that law be like that. So
yeah,
fixed.
Yeah,
But
so you know, I'm just looking. I was looking around to see if other states have laws like this, and I think the technology is too new. You know, I think I think it's something that does not bother people. In fact, we put a poll up on CoasterRadio.com today. Everybody who is watching us right now record the show live on a Tuesday night at live.coasterradio.com. We asked, do you care that Six Flags uses biometric data to process your pass? 60% of the audience says no, they don't care. It's not a big deal to them right now.
There you go. And this law has been on the books in Illinois since 2008, and so now it's just being challenged. So I think it's an old law that somebody made up back then because they were nervous about stuff it passed, and now they're going to look at it and say, yeah, this doesn't apply because everybody's doing biometrics. Leave it alone.
Yeah. I'm surprised the mom – I guess now that I think about it, I was going to say why wasn't the mom there when the kid was processing the pass? I'm sure there was a reason why he was there before, but – It's interesting.
I don't want to go to Six Flags.
Yeah, it's interesting. She got like pissed off afterwards, you know, and didn't know that was all a part of it. But and what kid comes home and goes, "Hey, mom, I needed to press my thumb to the plate." It was really cool.
Well, and what is she doing? It's like, oh, I'm so upset by this. Like, really, seriously, stop.
Yeah.
Relax.
Maybe.
Relax.
Maybe
I'm voting in the poll, and I'm saying relax.
Yeah, that's your vote, the EB vote there.
That's my vote.
We'll keep an eye on this, not only here, but I bet you will even talk about it on Theme Park News from CoasterRadio.com, our brand new podcast, and Amazon skill, and Google Home skill that's up there, the Google Home action. Lots going on here at Coaster Radio. Pretty cool
That'll
stuff.
be one of the ones that we follow here. So what's next here, Mike? We got quick hits.
Yes, indeed. It's our weekly look at all the big news happening in the amusement industry. And even though we did have a real show last week, there still was a lot of news happening, even though it was like one of those time machine shows, EB, that we had recorded so long ago. So let's talk about what's been going on the last 2 weeks. Our friends over at RTO pointed us to an article at Midwest Info Guide. And they basically have a pretty good article there about how Silver Dollar City has begun work on what probably is going to be an attraction for 2020.
Right. So the Ride This One podcast pointed us to this cool update here. It's coming to Silver Dollar City, their riverfront area. I guess they're taking out the old Whitewater Rapids ride and possibly their log flume too. Is that right?
Yeah, I think so. So it's what they're talking about. It's basically redoing the whole riverfront area with this, and taking over the Rapids ride, but doing something similar to what SeaWorld in Orlando did with Infinity Falls. But RTO is saying that it's probably going to be larger.
Now, that's crazy. I mean, if they can actually pull that off, that's awesome because Infinity Falls down there, that looks like an amazing ride. I mean, everybody loves the River Rapids. We here at CoasterRadio.com love River Rapids. Something that well-themed that they have down in Orlando with that crazy tallest drop. If they can do something like that at Silver Dollar City, you might see Coaster Radio coming back to Silver Dollar City in 2020. I mean, and we're seeing the dirt getting pushed around. We're seeing the lake has been drained more so than it ever is during the off-season. So there is stuff happening over there, but we just don't know what yet.
I do like these drops on the River Rapid rides. You know, it like at first when Disney started doing them, you might think like, that's just a gimmick. But
they had a decent River Rapids ride already. I'm surprised they're taking it out and doing this. But I mean, if they can make it better, that's awesome.
And a River Rapids ride set in that theme to the theme they have at Silver Dollar City really works well. Like, I like what they did with Infinity Falls, but that's not so well themed. It's got like nice plants and stuff around it, but there's not really a storyline behind it. You could have so much fun with the one they're going to do at Silver Dollar City, putting a big theme. The same thing they're doing at Knott's Berry Farm. They're going to redo their River Rapids ride, but actually add a storyline to it with animatronics and everything. So I'm liking that.
Yeah, I wonder if both of these parks were inspired by Infinity Falls, or if this was something that they were thinking about independently, or maybe they saw that and were like, hey, we could up our River Rapids. Yeah. I'd love to see that come to Holiday World, my home park. Their River Rapids ride is in need of something. That'd be cool.
You know, when I was in the hospital last week with the baby being born, and, you know, like after a baby is born, you stay in the hospital for 2 nights. You're there, you know, so they can monitor the baby. They can monitor the mom. They're checking everything. They're probably monitoring me, too, because I was flipping out. But basically, the one story I saw and actually sat there and read in the hospital room was a story about Star Wars Galaxy's Edge and some actual numbers about how much this thing really costs.
Yeah, this is kind of cool. So they've been digging into the numbers. Who wrote, was this where did this article come from?
I think Blue Loop. I think Blue Loop had this. Yeah.
That's right. And they're actually talking about the numbers and figuring out the cost of these things. And this is over $1 billion.
Yeah.
This is ridiculous.
Yeah, just the land itself. And we're talking about Disneyland here. They're saying it's going to cost around $1 billion just for the land. And this is from a leaked document from Disney. And what they've also found out is that for the Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run attraction, that's going to cost around $55.7 million.
That's a lot of millions for a theme park ride.
But here's the shocking thing. I thought that was the headlining attraction. I thought the Millennium Falcon thing was the big attraction. But they are actually spending more on Rise of the Resistance, the other attraction that's there. That's costing $77.9 million.
That is crazy. That is way too much. Now, we don't know as much, I think, about the Rise of the Resistance, so maybe there's something more in there that we don't know about yet that's making it cost this much.
I mean, that right there, I think, is the big nugget of this news, because what is it? It's over $20 million more for that attraction that a lot of people are not talking about. Everybody's freaking out about, you know, flying the Millennium Falcon, but what if the Rise of the Resistance was the better attraction inside Galaxy's Edge?
The difference between 55 million and 77 million is a gigantic roller coaster.
Yes, yeah, you're right. You're right.
What are we doing over there?
Yeah, yeah. And the other thing that's interesting in that article is they are saying that Disney is looking at putting a third attraction inside Galaxy's Edge.
Why not? If they've got like infinity money,
Yeah,
might as well.
Yeah, but they are saying maybe that the rumor is pointing towards just moving Star Tours over from Tomorrowland, putting that into Galaxy's Edge. I don't know.
Why not?
Yeah, why not?
Why not?
It would be kind of weird to have a Star Wars attraction inside Tomorrowland and then a gigantic Star Wars land, a 10-minute walk away. So
I think that totally makes sense. I mean, if you're building a new land, you might as well put all of the stuff from that into that new land. It makes total sense to me. I don't think necessarily people would complain about it because not only are you getting more Star Wars and getting really great Star Wars, proven Star Wars in Star Wars land, you're freeing up space.
Yes.
Back over there at the main park.
I like that. Who knows what they could do there? There's the other big story is what do you put into Tomorrowland?
Right.
Instead, I like that. And the same thing when you talk about what's happening at Hollywood Studios, what would they put in that valuable land too? Although I guess that's all going to kind of connect in a way anyway, the way it is at Hollywood Studios. So, but the Disneyland thing, at Tomorrowland, that's the interesting story. So I love things like that. That piques my interest when you get to actually look at real numbers of how much something costs. Pretty cool.
Those are crazy. Those are bonkers numbers. But I mean, those are Disney numbers, right?
Yeah, definitely. I love theme park coaster boys, especially ones who own drones, because when they have those drones, they figure out how to fly them over theme parks, and I love it.
They sure do, and they're pretty brazen about it. I feel like too. It's like, guys, you're not supposed to do that, right?
And sometimes they fly it like, on the public road and just fly it right over the fence. Totally legal. As long as they don't cross that fence, they're all good.
Yeah, I don't know if it's totally legal.
I remember the dude did that at King's Dominion. There's some public access road that runs along the back of the park. He went out there, he flew the drone straight up and got to see everything that they were doing on Twisted Timbers. And so I thought, that was interesting. And I don't know if the park liked that, but I remember that's the first time we actually got to see the trains testing.
Well, I mean, I know that it varies from state to state, but I know in Indiana, you can't fly drones. Don't do that.
Yeah. Well, anyway, he was out there at Lagoon, and back in 2017, they filed a trademark for the name Primordial.
Yes, and everybody was like, Primordial, that's a horrible name. It's almost as bad as Cannibal.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And they say it's like some type of an attraction device similar to a roller coaster. That's what they trademarked. So
it's an interactive roller coaster of some sort, and then the coaster boys figured out it's going to go in a mountain, right? Isn't this what the idea was?
I think that was the idea. Yeah, and primordial, you think of primordial ooze, like going back to like the origins of man and stuff.
I'm gonna be like go back to the tar pits and see some woolly mammoths or something. Yeah. I guess.
So a lot of people saying like, could this be a thrill ride that's a little bit of a dark ride? Maybe, I don't know. What do you think? You were at Lagoon this past summer. Is this, and do you know the area where this is being worked on?
This is basically the edge of the park. I mean, if you go to the park in the one corner, it's all like picnic tables and picnic areas and things like that undercover. And then this is just the dirt and grass parking area, like the employee parking, I guess. I don't know if it's a Lagoon space or somebody else's space, but there's just nothing over there. It's nothing.
Yeah.
It's just on the other side of the fence.
Yeah. I'm interested.
And it's a huge area. I mean, what they're looking at this drone footage, there's a lot happening. They've got all sorts of, pylons that are into the ground. It looks like they're building some sort of structure. There's a big pit that has been dug. Perhaps that's the primordial ooze, Mike. We'll all be coming out of it like fishmen or something. I don't know.
You know what? Oh, man, I'm going to go full-on nerd on you, but I'm too tired to like stop myself. Whenever I think of primordial ooze, you know what I think about?
What do you think about?
I think about the last episode of Star Trek: The Next Generation. Because remember,
of course, when Q takes him back and he's like, "There you are, Picard." Yeah. Oops, it didn't happen.
Yeah, like he sees the primordial ooze. I think he's like, "Look, you're nothing but a pile of goo." The way he says that always makes me laugh. But
oh man, that's a good pull. Nice,
full on geek moment here at Coaster Radio.
Wouldn't that be great? Lagoon announces that they have gotten the Star Trek license and they're opening a Q ride.
I love that.
Where you get to travel through 3 different time periods, right? Next Generation, go back to the Primordial Ooze. I guess it would be 4. It was Primordial Ooze, and then you'd go forward to the new Picard series.
Yes. Oh, there you go. Which is coming.
Yeah.
That to me was one of the best finales of a series ever. So good. A 2-parter. Nice, like some good drama. Taking them back and forth, seeing old cast members. Good stuff. I like what they did there.
Yeah, see an old senile Picard yelling at everybody, and then
With the
like
beard.
everybody in the cast is just like old man Picard.
Yeah, there you go.
He's gone crazy
So
again.
good. And now we really get to see him in this new series coming up. Pretty good.
It's going to be interesting, isn't it?
Yeah. I don't want to take away the thunder from Dwayne from Coaster Attic. He's coming on in the next part of the show here to talk about IAPA. But there were two big coaster projects that were announced at IAPA last week. One is going to Wallaby, Belgium in 2021, and the other is going to Parc Astrix that same time. The coaster going to Wallaby, Belgium looks pretty cool. It's going to be 164 feet tall, and it's going to begin with an 80-degree first drop. It's going to have 70-mile-per-hour top speed and around 4,000 feet of track, but a lot of airtime moments, some cool new track elements, and it looks like it's kind of a new design from Intamin that they're having there. And the ride point of view, I guess a lot of coaster boys were at IAPA shooting some video of it, putting it on the internet. It looks like a really, really cool addition to the park.
Yeah, these are both Intamin roller coasters, and this is sort of being hailed as like Intamin is coming back as a major player in roller coasters. RMC has really dominated, and Intamin has kind of fallen away. But these new ride designs, Parc Asterix and Wallaby Belgium, they look amazing, and some of the most airtime ever on steel roller coasters coming out of these two coasters.
Yeah. Now, I want to see the actual animation for the ride that they're talking about at Parc Asterix, because they're talking about this ride having several launches, high-speed launches, but then several moments of the ride where the track switches. There are track switches and send the roller coaster going in different directions, but this isn't happening like where the roller coaster stops and the track switches. These are happening when the roller coaster is going 50, 60, 70 miles an hour.
Yeah, these are supposed to be high-speed track switches, so I don't know if you're launching and then you start to roll back and you launch backwards, and then when you're still launching, before the return trip, it changes again, right? As you're coming back into the station, you don't go right into the launch area. You go left and you continue on the ride. Who knows how this is going to work, but if they can pull off some high-speed launches, that would be really cool. And I mean, that's what they're doing. This is what this is going to be.
Yeah. Remember when we talked to the guys who did all of the design systems and the safety systems for, rides at Cedar Point and the roller coasters?
Sure, yeah.
I'd like to talk to the guy whose job it is to make sure that the roller coaster.
Andre Irving, those are those guys, yeah.
Who the heck is doing the engineering on the track switch to make sure that if for some reason that didn't work, that the ride just didn't like fly through while the track was like halfway in the switch?
That'd be like the old Disney roller coaster game. You'd just be flying them off the edge.
Oh, man. Can you imagine that? Because like you're not talking about a ride like on Expedition Everest. It pulls into that cave. You stop there for a minute. You see a little show scene while the track in front of you switches so you can go down the big 80-foot drop. If for some reason the track switch broke, they can just, e-stop and get everybody off. It's no big deal.
They just don't send you back, right? Like Fire Chaser Express at Dollywood. They just don't send you. So you just stay put. But no, if you're already rolling at it, and it's changing in front of you, that's kind of scary.
Yes. Yeah. That's as soon as I saw this, and I don't know, that was the first thought I had, and I saw online too a lot of people saying the same thing. Like, wait a minute, I want to make sure it works. It's kind of the same way as like that tilt coaster. Like you're putting all your faith in the engineers on that tilt coaster that they have overseas.
Right.
Yeah. So.
You're all in. No, well, Europeans are really excited about this pair of Intamin roller coasters that are coming. We got to wait a couple of years for them, but and that second one there, it's going to have the most launches, I guess, of any coaster in Europe. So they're going to be big coasters for our European listeners.
Yeah, that's Parc Astrix. That's in France, right? So, I might be making. I'm gonna have to I know that I'm actually maybe getting to France sometime this summer 2019. Might have to check that out. I might have to plan the trip to make sure I'm there because I got to see that in person. I want to see that one in person.
Is it going to be ready in time, or is that one going to be taken?
That's 20. Oh man, I may have to go back. 20.
I think it's going to also be 20. I think that's 2020, and the other one's 2021. So they're announcing these real early.
See, yeah, that's.
It's too bad you have to find another reason to go back to France.
I know exactly. All right, I'll figure it out.
Yeah.
No, I was all excited there for a second. But anyway, so we've got a lot of news to talk about here on the show, but the news continues throughout the week, doesn't it, EB?
That's right. The news doesn't stop here. Theme park news from CoasterRadio.com is now available every day as an Amazon Flash Briefing skill, a daily podcast, or on your Google Home device. Get a first drop news story and quick hits every day from CoasterRadio.com/news or by asking your smart device for theme park news from CoasterRadio.com.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. EB and I are there every day. Like, this show's an hour or so, each week, but there's another 20 minutes of Coaster Radio on these daily newscasts that we do Monday through Friday for you guys. Pretty fun.
Absolutely, yes. And we want to thank you guys for listening to the actual podcast, the big full CoasterRadio.com week after week on Thursdays. Thanks to Drop Thrill and Cedar Point Guy for reviewing the show on iTunes. So next time you're on your computer and you're in iTunes, take some time, go find Coaster Radio, and leave us a 5-star review. It helps other people find the show, which makes us be able to bring you more good content. So please leave a review, and thanks to those guys for leaving reviews.
Yes, we also want to thank you guys who go to CoasterRadio.com first before you do your Amazon shopping. You click the CoasterRadio.com logo that's right there. There's so many fun things that are coming out this time of year. A lot of people having fun during Black Friday, getting all those type of deals and stuff. I like looking through and seeing things that you can take to the park. Especially, there's so many great parks where you can go in and bring cameras and videotape and stuff. I want to get this and try it out this year for Coaster Radio. It's a Samsung Gear 360. It's a real 360-degree camera that shoots in 4K. And you can upload it to the internet to have virtual reality. So you can walk through the park holding this thing and actually get a full 360 view. And the good thing is, EB, it's $80. That's all it is right there on Amazon.
Yeah, this is really cool. So this is the 2017 model, and so it's on sale. It's a little bit cheaper, but it works really well. If you're a Samsung customer, I'm not going to recommend this for anybody who isn't, but if you're a Samsung person, we've done the research for you. This is the best choice for interacting with your Samsung phone, uploading to the internet, uploading it to social media, these 360 views, these videos or photos that you can do. Or if you're a Samsung VR person and you've got the Samsung VR rig, this perfectly interacts with Samsung VR as well. So Samsung people, go to coasterradio.com. In the show notes, is that where we're putting these links, Mike?
Yep.
Find the link, and you'll be able to click on there. You'll grab this thing. And of course, because you're going to coasterradio.com first, your Amazon shopping helps the show too. So any Amazon shopping, coasterradio.com first, Amazon logo at the top of the page, click that link. Anything that you buy, put it in your shopping cart. We get a little kickback because we are talking about Amazon.
Absolutely. And next week, speaking of gifts, it is the annual holiday tradition here at CoasterRadio.com, the 2018 Coaster Radio Holiday Gift Guide.
Yeah, this is a lot of fun. So this is coming up. We like to talk about the different things that you can get either for coaster lovers and theme park fans in your life, or it's a nice list that you can just pass on to somebody else. And we do everything from the little things, like little knickknacks and Christmas ornaments and fun stuff that we find. Stuff for kids. We've got some games that we're going to talk about. And then stuff for, who knows, the big wish list, right? Skee ball machine, arcade game. Hey, how about your own tilt-a-whirl?
I love that
those
stuff.
things on the list too.
Yeah, and there are ways to get those really big things sometimes. I was looking at the other day, a park was closing down somewhere in the Midwest. They had a Galaxy roller coaster. They had, like you said, a Tilt-A-Whirl, a Music Express EB. They had one of those for sale. And there was, I think, a frog hopper ride for $15,000. You could pull that off. That's not so bad, So we'll talk about all of those type of things, but we really need your guys' help on this. I mean, listen to us. EB is sick. I'm getting 2 hours of sleep at night with the baby. So here's what we need you guys to do: send in suggestions of really cool things that you have found out there. They don't just have to be on Amazon. They can be anywhere that are out there. Let us know about them, and we will use them as part of the holiday gift guide.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Feedback at coasterradio.com or Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, social media, however you want to do it. Send us those links. It can be stuff that we've talked about before. It can be new stuff that you found, or maybe bring back those old favorites, something that you always talk about. If you're a champion of something, remind us and we'll put it on the list. We'll talk about all that stuff next week.
Yeah. And if we're in a giving mood, one listener who sends something in might actually get the thing that they suggest.
Or something else. I mean, if they suggest something really expensive.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Then we'll go into the prize closet. But I think we're going to spread some holiday cheer next week. And I don't know, maybe a couple people get some actual cool things during the holiday gift guide.
That's a great idea, Mike.
Yeah. So like we said, last week we were scheduled to do our IAPA show. We are going to have the guys from Coaster Addict come on and tell us everything that they saw at IAPA. But then baby Emma had some different ideas. She came right during that week, so we launched the show that we had already pre-recorded. So now here we are, just kind of catching up. What do we usually say, EB? Last week's news today? Is that what this is?
Last week's news today. So our buddy here, Dwayne from Costa Rica, is going to join us in just a moment, Mike. But before we get to that, Mike, it is time for Costa Radio Mail.
Oh.
Is that all right?
Oh, that's totally good. That's totally good. There, so we have the.
And I wrote up that more formal daily news briefing blurb.
Yes.
Just because when we always talk about it, we kind of always like fumble over it.
Yes.
And I thought if we had like a standard thing that we would say,
that's perfect.
It might work better.
That's perfect.
Yeah, we're always like, oh yeah, don't forget.
No, that's great. That's great because we do need that. It's not in there.
And then we can kind of put it right there at the end of Quick Hits every week if you like it.
I love it. I love it. I think that's great.
All right. So I got 3 things, and we'll go through them pretty quick. You ready?
Okay. Yep.
All right, there it went, Mike. There's the mailbag.
We still haven't figured out what that is at the end. I don't think we ever will. Yeah.
We got a postcard here, Mike.
Oh, good.
It's a old-timey black and white photograph of what looks like Frodo. I don't know what it is, like an old-timey photo from the 20s.
Oh, weird. Okay.
It's like Frodo holding the bucket with 2 very unattractive flapper women.
Oh.
And it says, hello, Mike and EB. Thank you all for reading my last postcard. Luckily enough, I have quite the collection of postcards. So this could be a 2-way conversation for a while yet.
Wow.
So I have a question for you. What is your opinion of Hershey Park? I just visited for the first time and have been raised on Disney. So I was disappointed with the lack of theming, especially that white cube at the far end of the park. I did love the dueling coasters, though. Happy podcasting, G4. I love Hershey Park, Mike. I think it's one of our favorite parks. I would agree. If you're coming from Disney, it's not all chocolate and Twizzlers walking around that park.
Yeah. That's the thing. If you were raised on Disney, going to any regional park is going to be a letdown in terms of theming, but sometimes not necessarily in terms of rides. I think Hershey Park has some of the best roller coasters on the East Coast in terms of just differing styles. I almost said Thigh Crush, but Sky Rush is fantastic. Super Duper Looper is so old school. That's fun. I love Lightning Racer. Storm Runner is a really awesome roller coaster. It's kind of the baby version of a Top Thrill dragster. It's just so much fun. And I mean, it's cool just to kind of be around, like, the chocolate. There's so much like chocolate, the deep fried candy bars, all that stuff, and they're just it's a really fun park to walk around. I love it.
Yeah, I mean, there's enough theming. I think if you go to any theme park, we talk about the difference between an amusement park and a theme park. If you go to any sort of a theme park, it's not going to be as heavily themed as Disney. I mean, they're not spending $55 million on a ride or $1 billion on a land. So you get what you get. It's kind of like going to Holiday World. They do a good job, I think, of the different holidays. They could easily do a lot more. Yeah. I mean, any park can. But I love Hershey Park. That's my answer there.
Yeah, like G4 probably grew up going to all those Disney dark rides, and then imagine the look on his face when he went in that Hershey, the Reese's Extreme Cup Challenge.
Sure. Or even walking around, right? There is a level of immersion that you're experiencing when you're just walking around a Disney park.
Yeah.
So I'm reading the caption here on this postcard and it says, Sergeant Irving Berlin, the hottest American songwriter when the U.S. entered World War I, is flanked by 2 beauties, camped Upton doughboys in drag.
Oh, okay. So now you know why. Okay.
So there they are. And it goes on to explain that he wrote a song as a fundraiser and performed it in front of 300 soldiers, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah. All right, cool. Very nice postcard. Love it.
Excellent. All right, next. I got an envelope here.
Okay. Opening it up. Here we go.
This one is, there's no note, but it is from our good friend Kyle Lindner.
Oh, great.
On the back air from Ohio. And Lindner Studios is his website, and he sent us some of his stickers that he's made. That's cool. Look at that one. That's Space Mountain.
Oh, very nice. Very nice. And
you know what? And this one is that Magnum?
Wait, it does look like the Magnum trains. Yeah.
That's the Magnum train. So these are really 3 really nice vinyl stickers. And then, of course, a plug for Kyle Lindner Design.
Yeah.
LINDN.
And thanks to Kyle, too, because he sent me some of those to my address as well. So I appreciate that. That's really cool. And fantastic stickers. I've already put them to use.
Excellent. And then I've got a padded envelope here from Wesley,
okay.
South Carolina.
And can I say how cool is it that we're actually getting mail to the P.O. box? That's so old school, but it's fun to actually have like a physical piece of mail.
It is fun. It is fun. And I need to keep the P.O. box. I need a reason to keep the P.O. box. So thank you guys. Here it is from West Corner. There's an envelope inside the envelope that says, "Hi guys, just some fun from Carowinds. Feel free to keep it or pass it along from Wes." And inside he has a really cool lanyard.
Oh, nice.
A Carowinds Copperhead Strike lanyard.
Oh, there we go from the media day, maybe. Very nice.
That's cool.
Yeah,
I like that a lot.
Put that on right there. Yeah. No, you're going to keep that. That's good.
That's very cool. So thanks, Wes.
Yeah, see, these are things that we love getting. Like, if you've got some fun stuff like this, toss it in the mail. Send it to the P.O. box. We'll talk about it here on the show.
Or send us a postcard with two dudes wearing dresses. That's cool, too.
With Irving Berlin.
Yeah, coastradio.com, P.O. Box 3399, Bloomington, Indiana, 47402.
I love it. Yeah. All right, so I want to hear what was going on at IAPA. I mean, normally you and I like dive into this stuff, but this year, we had a lot of crazy stuff going on in real life. So I'm excited to welcome to the show right now our good friend Dwayne from Coaster Attic. He's going to help us out and let us know exactly what was going on down in Orlando. Hey, Dwayne, how's it going? All right. Let's pull him in. Hey, Dwayne, we're going to give you a call right now.
I'm going to go get a glass of water.
Okay, I'll wait for you to come back, then I'll call.
All right.
Thank you guys for being here. We'll do this, and then that's the end of the show. Man, oh man, I got to tell you guys, I'm beat. So I wasn't kidding, actually. Like, I was putting together the show rundown around like 2 o'clock today. I was literally falling asleep, like at the keyboard, like doing that. And oh shoot, I've got to record theme park news from Coaster Radio. I haven't done that yet. I got to do that as soon as we're done too. It's only 10:08. The problem is I can't just go right upstairs and go to sleep. I think that baby might be up, or would be getting up at like 1 or 2 in the morning. So we'll see. Okay. All right, let me see how...
All right.
This new Skype sucks, so let me see how it's going to work. I don't like this new Skype. More options. No, that's not it. Man.
What was the other thing that we had talked about possibly using? It was a while ago.
Oh, yeah. Hang on. Is this going to work? Hang on, let's see. Nope. Man. Oh, wait, here we go. Is this going to work? Hang on, still working. Ay, Dios mío. Hang on. Let me try this real quick. If this puts you on hold, I'll call you right back. I did. All right, that didn't work. All right, let me see. Here we go. Hang on. This should be working now. And for everybody else, I am going to switch to this so you don't have to see the camera's all messed up. All right, there we go. And EB, if you want, you can turn off your camera just to save bandwidth so we get better audio. And Dwayne, we are calling you right now on Skype. Should be working. Yeah, so we did talk about Google Hangouts, possibly using that, and isn't there something else too?
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't remember. Oh, wait. Should be calling now. Let's see. Does that work? Says it's dialing. All right, hang on. All right, let's see if this works. Dwayne, I'm trying that thing you just gave us. Let's see.
Hello.
There we go.
Hey, Dwayne.
Hey, how you doing? Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, you sound good.
Good.
Great. Hey, man, thanks for doing this.
Yeah, sorry we couldn't get you last week, but this is good. We can keep the conversation going now.
That works. Fantastic.
Yeah, we're gonna lean on you for all this here. So yeah, we're just gonna kind of have you go, and we'll just jump in and kind of comment on it. But yeah, we're just gonna do that. So all right, cool. We'll just pick up where we left off here on the show and keep recording. Okay, here we go.
Hey everybody, how you guys doing today?
Oh, that's great. Actually, I'm sorry. Here, I'll just do I'll do a quick intro, and then we'll just pick it up right from there. Yep.
Good.
And so let's welcome to the show from Coaster Addict, Dwayne. Dwayne, how's it going?
It's going fantastic. How you guys today?
Doing great. Thank you so much for being here on the show. You just got back from sunny Orlando, Florida, down at the IAAPA convention. How was it?
It was busy.
Yeah.
Very busy, very exciting stuff going on in Orlando. Very privileged to get down there again this year.
Yeah.
And this was kind of a big deal for you because Coaster Addict has been growing so much. I mean, and you guys were down there as unofficially, right?
So this is our third year getting press passes, which we're thrilled to have that opportunity. But this year we stepped it up and we actually we brought a bigger team. So can't say anything else more than that. I mean, it's not just me there. You have Rock and Sandy, Luke, and Goliath, and he's also with RTO. So we're down there, and then right before IAAPA, we actually became a member of IAAPA.
Oh,
which is exciting for us going forward. So it's fun time for us.
that's fantastic. Yeah, so that's taking the next big step in there. So that's really, really good. And this was like a gigantic IAAPA, right? And kind of like the last time that they're going to do it the way they've always done it.
Right. IAAPA has been around 100 years now, and essentially they've always considered this the Attraction Expo. And every year we've gone, it's been a new record, a number of attendees and qualified buyers and vendors and whatnot. This year, technically, is last time it's going to be called the Attractions Expo. It's still going to be the same type of expo, same type of stuff, but they're rebranding, renaming a few things. So it's just going to be like IAAPA Expo.
Yeah.
Same thing with the European and the Asian shows. Same thing there too.
Yeah. The neat thing, though, is that, the thing we all see on Twitter and Facebook and all the posts and stuff on Instagram is all the stuff that the vendors are showing on the show floor. But there's a lot more going on at IAAPA, right? Like, that's only a part of it.
Right. That's just like a small, I wouldn't call it a small part because it's massive. It's 10, this year was 10 miles of vendors, it was hard to cover. You can't be everywhere at the same time. But while that's going on the floor, you have educational courses, seminars, you have tours, behind the scenes tours, charity events, after parties, and press conferences, special events on top of that as well. It's a busy week.
Yeah. I'm always interested, aren't you, EB, about the after parties and like the things that go on after the floor shuts down? Because like we get invites to that sometimes too. Like, hey, show up at this park or at this place. And I'm always curious what the heck is going on at those things.
And you're always nervous, like, man, I don't even want to find out necessarily. So, Dwayne, how did you and your team, did you guys organize all of this stuff well in advance, or you didn't go down there and just wing it? How do you prioritize? What were you most interested in making sure that you got to go see and do?
Well, it's a combination of things, really. We get the press schedule ahead of time. Of course, things change over time as well. Things can be added, but for the most part, we have an idea what vendors are going to be talking, formally, and then we try to divide the team up with more people. We can divide up the team, and we invested in a brand new video rig, so we had to determine which press conferences will get that priority. Because essentially they're not going to be, the press conferences are not right next to each other. They could be, all the way across the other side of the floor. So if you get there late, you're not going to get a good spot. So you just have to alternate. It's kind of crazy. Mm-hmm. But we talked ahead of time too. We actually, we had a few meetings, impromptu conference calls with the team going down. You get the app ahead of time too. You can kind of, IAPA provides a breakdown of different vendors as well. So you can kind of try to schedule it, but also enjoy it, kind of a mixture of things.
So give us your breakdown. We asked you ahead of time to come up with sort of the list of things that you wanted to talk about and break down your biggest takeaways that you were able to experience. What are some of those amazing things? Why don't you just start taking us through the list?
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. So many things going on, like you said, but the tournament breakfast happens every Wednesday morning, or the Wednesday morning of the expo. That was sold out. Disney's president, chairman of all the parks experiences, consumer products, he was keynoting. So of course it's going to be a packed house. They gave the press a little live stream, a little stream of that in a different room, and he was just talking about all the stuff that Disney is doing. It's great. They have Stuntronics. I don't know if you guys heard about that. That was, it's not just animatronics, but it's like, think of a animatronic doing gymnastics moves on a high wire, on a just crazy apparatus. So they're working on that stuff. It's just mind-boggling what they can do so far. That was fun to see.
What are they talking about in terms of the applications of that? Is it going to be for big shows? Like some of their, nighttime spectaculars? Do you think that's where they're aiming with that type of stuff? Because the one thing that I saw was like an animatronic on a trapeze that looked really like it was incredible, and it was just moving so fluidly. So I'm wondering where this might be used.
Yeah, they kind of show the teaser of the kind of maneuvers that it could do, and they're still kind of testing it. Think of if you're like a stunt guy on a dirt bike, you're kind of jumping into the pit first to see if you can do the maneuver.
Yeah.
So you don't, break your neck. That's what it kind of was, and showing some of the things they can maybe do for shows, maybe for different attractions. So I think what's coming up in the next 5 years is going to be crazy for Disney.
Yeah, definitely.
Or could be at least.
Yeah, I think
something that's really fun.
That robot thing, I think, is going to be in some sort of stunt spectacular where you could have the actor in the Iron Man suit. He just kind of jumps behind, a wall, and then this robot dressed up like Iron Man shoots into the sky.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
And they'll be able to do seamless stuff like that, I think.
Yeah, that'll blow people away. That'd be awesome. EB,
Really
you're right.
cool.
That's exactly how they'll probably do it. Fantastic.
But and then that was just one small component. The other thing, I was fortunate. We weren't planning necessarily going to the celebration event at Universal Studios that was put on for IAPA. But our friends over at Coaster 101 had an extra ticket. So, of course I had to take it up on it, right? So last year they did Avatar and all that over at Animal Kingdom. This year was at Universal Florida. And so I went, got a Zen ride on Transformers. you're talking about 3,600 people at the front of the park. So I got in and out of everything very quickly. And then Bare Naked Ladies played. And I didn't know how long it was going to be, but it was a 90-minute show.
Wow. Oh, that's cool. Though that is fun when you actually go to an event like this and you kind of get the run of a park. Because is it true where most of the people buy the food and booze? So that left the rides kind of open.
Yeah, it spreads it out because you had all kinds of different kinds of food. You had the booze. You had you name it. People can go all over the place. And so there are times. I guess let's say if you didn't like the concert or weren't interested, all the people at the concert, you'd have even more rain of the rides.
Yeah. So, did they have everything open? Was every ride like pretty much it?
No, I wish.
Yeah.
Just the front. So you have my first ride that night was Mummy. I think I waited. It took me just basically to walk the line. So walked right down to that, and then got front row there.
Wow.
Went over to Transformers, got right on there. Same thing with the New York ride, Kimmel, and and then after that, walked over and got ready for the concert. They did, they had the food, and then the dessert started at 9, so I just skipped dessert. But and then the way out, I stopped at Voodoo Donuts. So
there you go.
Can't beat that. We spent a lot of time there at Voodoo Donuts. It seemed like on the downtime. So,
yeah. Dude, that's great.
But yeah, it's a fun time there. I mean, it was a great time. I'm guessing next year, those who go to IAPA, the expo, I'm kind of thinking it's going to be the Galaxy's Edge.
That's what I would think. Yeah, because they're going to want to show that off right around that time. So, the EB, there's the reason why we need to, whatever plan you're working on, EB, to cover IAPA, that's when we need to make it work for next year.
That's the plan. I'm just going to join Dwayne's team.
There you go. Yes.
There you go.
Even better. Even better.
Come on now. But there's so many things that are going on. Of course, you get as coaster addicts, we love coasters. So every year there's at least, it seems like there's one coaster there, which is always the Crazy 8. But this year the Crazy 8 from SBF Visa was seemed like it had a bigger drop on it, so it's kind of cool.
Oh yeah,
to see a slight variation. Yeah.
Yeah.
So one more credit. It's hard to get those credits, so get it when we can. Legoland movie ride model was unveiled as well. So the cool thing about that is, a lot of times you get the vendors want to talk about their technology to another park and try to sell it. Well, now they're going to have Brogent will have that right in the backyard. Essentially, they can just take people right from the expo and just swing over to Legoland within an hour and experience that technology. So
that's great.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So that's coming up next. And then the fun thing we did, Trial Tech, they always unveil a new experience, a battle experience. They can be scalable up to 60, 80, 100 people in the theater. And just the I guess you call it the model experience that they provided there on a smaller scale, certainly.
Yeah.
Was fun because you had like two teams battling each other. Think of like Team EB. In our case, we right after the press conference, a lot of the media went right in there. So we had like our friends at Midway Mayhem and Coaster Studios, going against us, and you have different people. And of course, my team won, and I got the first high score. But other than that, it was. But the cool thing is, like, you find out how you did. You could be number one overall, but still on the losing team.
Sure.
Yeah. Sure.
So you want to do it over and over again. Yeah. Sally Corporation, they have some great people over there. They announced, their Sesame Street themed dark ride experience going to be in Europe. So that's coming up, and they unveil Big Bird. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Some of the stuff they're talking about and doing. I'm kind of curious how that final product's going to be. I have to find a way to get to Europe, of course, but it should be interesting. Yeah. I'm a big Justice League, Battle for Metropolis guy. If you don't know it already, I love that. So the stuff that Sally does is great. So
yeah, and the Big Bird animatronic looked really good. I mean, it looked great on video. I bet it looked even better in person.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. Everyone was going over there to get pictures, of course, throughout the entire week. So that was definitely something pretty cool.
That's totally
cool. Also, just take a step back to last year, weekend, they introduced that slide wheel, which is that spinning, kind of rotating water slide.
Yeah, that weird slow, and you just kind of slosh around inside it. Yeah.
And that was just like a concept last year, right? Well, they obviously opened up their first one earlier this year. So during the kickoff, they always do the kickoff event the first day in the morning before the floor opens. And they kind of recap a lot of the different rides and things that opened up. And once that showed up on the screen, everyone's oohing and ahhing. So that got a big response from the audience. So I'm wondering if more of those are going to be, out there in the next year or two. I think it sounded like, because you see different industry guys coming in too, like, Kalahari and different operators. Well, you'll see them in the booths, you might see Rob Decker over at RMC, or you might see someone else. So you're kind of wondering, you're trying to guessing, maybe they'll be at their park in the next couple of years.
Yeah, and them winning that award in front of all of those industry players, that's how you pretty much guarantee it's probably going to make it into another park, maybe even one, here in the States that we see. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. So Anxious to see something like that. It'd be kind of fun. Hopefully soon.
Great.
Of course, you can't go without talking about the GCI trains. The Millennium Flyers are a popular train on the coastal world for I don't know, years now. So now they have the next iteration of that will allow GCI to take the train, and through inversions. So, and they provided a little model of that, like kind of dueling experience.
Right.
Don't have any details, but it's kind of a big tease there. So that looked really cool.
Yeah, this was the model that we were talking about a bunch when we were seeing it. I think this was something that I think we were possibly the most excited about, Mike.
Yeah, because I was wondering if that model was just built like as a showcase, like this is what we could do, or is it something where they're saying, hey, we're ready to put this in a park right now, like the plans are ready. If you've got the land, we could plop it down. That's what I was kind of wondering, if which way they're going.
It sounds like it's ready to go. They're talking about those trains, for example. They could do two different things. They could put the track in there very soon. Next year or two, you can see that. But also too, if someone had let's say Kentucky Rumbler or some other GCI from before that had Millennium Flyer trains, if they wanted to upgrade their trains, they could.
Yeah.
Of course, the track doesn't already go inverted, but they could do that as well. So I think they're trying to sell it two different ways.
Interesting. Yeah, I think that was one of the most exciting things. They had started getting the most traction on social media once you guys started like tweeting out photos of those trains. People started going wild, especially knowing what they can do on future attractions.
Exactly, and I think that's good. I think it's good for the industry because now they're potentially in the inversion game on wood. So that maybe pushes the envelope a little bit and gets the competition going, with RMC and everyone else. And who knows what comes up next?
Definitely.
So competition's a good thing.
Yeah.
And of course, you guys mentioned earlier in the show the Intamin. They kind of just showcase what they have coming up in 2020, 2021. I mean, that's you have to find a way. Any enthusiast is going to want to get across the pond. They're going to want to go.
Yeah.
Check out. That. All those launches and things. They're always about thrill. And they are also talking a little bit about their drop rides too on smaller scale. So that was kind of, they always bring the intensity, and they've been in the business for a long time. I think 50 years or so. So they definitely, I'm hoping, of course, more and more Intamins come over to the stateside, and on the big intense scale. Of course, they've been doing some family attractions lately, but I'm anxious to see if we can get some of that over here. But it looks great.
Definitely. It's good to see innovation from those guys. I mean, they're not just like selling the same old things they sold a decade ago. They're kind of up in the game. That's good.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. And then, Dynamic Attractions always does a press event. It seems like every year, and they're big, they do lots of big indoor stuff and, major experiences that are not cheap. But now they're teaming up with Chance Rides, so they could you might see more of their technologies into some roller coasters in the future. So I'm not sure where that's going to go, but I'm anxious to see. They have that new CEO that has been on board, I think, for a year or so. We talked to them in 2017 on an interview, and he really is trying to look at some different opportunities, and this might be one that we could maybe see in more parks near us.
Yeah. And a lot of people going wild for that video that they unveiled, kind of showcasing their new ride systems, and trying to figure out where that ride system might go.
Yeah, and they're all, they always have a robust, presentation and, a great booth. Their booth always wins as well, but, they have the product behind it. And you begin to wonder, especially some of these bigger companies that do those kinds of things that normally come with a bigger price point, you begin to wonder where you might see them at.
Yeah,
Definitely something that we're hoping, of course, you can get that at more locations than just your big players.
Right.
So,
now, this dynamic attractions thing, this is the one that's going to be the Mario Kart ride. Is that this one, or is this the one that's going to do the Donkey Kong Country where it launches where it can jump tracks?
I think they're talking a few different ways. They had a few things they're kind of discussing. I forget exactly all that. They didn't really go into great detail, but they have, like I said, with the roller coaster side of it, not sure what they're going to have out there. Maybe I missed part of that. Again, I honestly, I will say that I was at their press conference, but the only thing I didn't like about the press conference was this: I was standing right by the monitors, and it was tough to hear some of it. So, but the video looks fantastic. The ride concepts look great. I just don't know how in depth over the next couple of years how that will apply to roller coasters.
Yeah,
that's where I don't really know where it's going to go. But I mean, not that anyone really knows unless you're part of that partnership. But definitely, it's something that looks like it should be pretty good.
Yeah, they're them showing off. I like dynamic attractions in their booth, and I can see why they would win every year is because they don't really, they don't necessarily make this stuff. They just kind of like to promise that they can do it. You know, like they can make these leaping roller coasters or these giant rotating theaters and all of these crazy things. And so to see those and to think about them, I mean, they did do the big figure eight, the infinity coasters and things. So they can make these. It just takes, like you were saying, the people are there who can make it happen. They're walking around, and if they can sell it to them, they can build it for them.
And also, their goal is, like you talked about, they talk about these big concepts and out there, and then maybe you hear about it, and then years later they never come to fruition. And their goal now is really to drive turnaround time, so it's more top of mind. You get people on board, and you can turn over quicker and get the attraction up and running at a reasonable price. It seems like that's what they're trying to drive, to get more of their product out there in a number of different applications. So let's hope so. I mean, they've had shown some really cool stuff over the past couple of years. So you never know if it's going to actually end up somewhere or not. Now, also, too, one last thing I got to say, some honorable mentions. Of course, VR is all over the place.
Oh, yeah.
But and there's some zip line stuff, zip coaster and all. We can go on and on forever about it, and we're anxious to see what happens in the next couple of months and into 2019. But one thing I think was kind of cool, and when you go to the theme parks, you walk right by the game section, and it's like you just keep walking, and nothing's really innovative. Well, I tried the Hang Time game. I did that at Legoland, but they had the one on a prototype that's a little bit better on the floor, and that. Outside of like Beaver Tail and some other vendors like that have been, staples of the IAAPA convention, the expo itself. This garnered quite a crowd, and what it essentially is like you're hanging from a pull-up bar, and your goal is to hang there for, at Legoland it's 2 minutes.
Wow.
And at this game is like you can do 30, 60, or 90 seconds.
Yeah.
What they don't tell you is, of course, the bar does independently roll, and it's thinner. It's not the diameter of a pull-up bar. So
yeah.
I held on for about 70, 75 seconds. And then I just couldn't hold the grip because it rotated on me. So,
yeah,
I mean, and I think they were charging like $38,000 for a two-person one. And it was like, that one on the floor was cool because you could hold on to it. It would automatically lift you up and use technology like you're using in your garage. So once you clear a certain level, it would stop you.
Yeah.
So you're not too far off the ground and you're not going to fall.
Right.
Even stuff with games is kind of cool. So it's just, and it's not just roller coasters. So this expo has everything.
Yeah.
From the cotton candy machine all the way.
I could totally see that Hang Time game kind of being in the same vein as like the 3-point shot, where people are kind of standing around and watching. It's a spectator game, which, and then people it kind of eggs you on to keep going. So yeah, I can see that working.
Yeah, and you want to beat your time from last time. It's like the basketball game. You want to beat your score last time. So it gets people to kind of repeat business essentially.
Yeah. Sounds good, EB. I think that like you said on our earlier show, we need to get ourselves down to IAAPA in 2019. There's a lot to see.
There's a lot to see, and I think the more that the podcast and the websites, Coaster Addict and all those other guys are going down there and talking about the roller coasters and going to those press conferences and all that stuff. Mike, I think maybe you and I need to go down there and just play the games and get all the free food samples.
That's what we need to do.
That's our niche.
Yeah, and just we'll let the guys from Coaster Addict handle all the coverage.
They're handling all the real stuff. We'll just go down there and we'll collect like keychains and things.
Exactly. They're doing a good job for all of us. So we should just let you guys do it. That's the way it should be. Hey, before we let you go though, Dwayne, give everybody a plug, or give us a plug for Coaster Addict and what you guys are doing, and let people know where they can find you.
Yeah, you can definitely find us online. We're on all over social media, but coasteraddict.com, all the links are above at the top of the page. But definitely we're pushing out we have some more content still yet to push out from IAAPA. And so you'll check out the YouTube channel. It's youtube.com/IAAPA C/Coaster Addict. But of course, the links are all on coasteraddict.com. So check us out.
Perfect. Thank you so much for being here and kind of give us the rundown of everything that was happening at IAAPA. Just sounds like a great time.
Yeah, thanks, Dwayne.
Always fun. Thank you.
All right. All right, thanks, man. That was great. That was perfect.
Yeah, thank you.
Cool. Thanks for having me
That's
on.
going to be great. Yeah, so we'll edit that up. It'll be on this week's show, ready to go.
Sounds like a plan.
All right, man. Thanks again. We appreciate it. This is such a big help and just a great part of the show.
Well, it's always a pleasure. And like I said, need help next year.
Okay, yeah, definitely.
Cool, man.
Yeah.
Well, you guys need to have a booth.
Exactly.
I'm telling you.
We may have to look into that, EB.
Yeah, next year it might happen for next year.
There we go.
There you go.
All right, man. Have a good night. Thanks again.
Thanks, you
Thanks,
too.
Dwayne.
Talk to you later.
Bye.
Bye. Oh. Okay, here we go. We'll just wrap up here. Yeah, EB, maybe we really do need to have a booth. I don't know if that was your secret plan or if you've got something else you're cooking up for 2019 at IAAPA, but I think next year is the year.
I think if we got a booth, Mike, we would just get like 2 big Barca loungers right there in the middle of the floor and let people come to us. We just sit back.
Yeah, there we go. Have people bring us food from the food area.
I'll just get my like giant icy freeze sample.
Yeah.
And you can go out and you can get like a big old elephant ear or whatever.
I'd like to see us in like a big radio booth, like the big glass enclosed booth that people walk by and they're like, "Oh, what's going on in there?" I think that would be fun.
Oh, I like that. Would you put speakers on the outside so they could hear us talking?
Yes,
or would
exactly.
you not?
Oh.
Don't put speakers. And then they would really gather around and be like, what are they talking about? It's so mysterious.
Try to read their lips. What are they saying?
Yeah.
I like that even better. That's even cooler.
That's too funny. Secret soundproof booth
Yes.
from coasterradio.com.
Got a year to make that work. Let's do it.
I like it. I like it.
Well, thanks, Dwayne, for coming on the show, and thanks to all of you guys for being here week after week at coasterradio.com. Remember, next week, we've got the holiday gift guide. That's going to be a lot of fun. And I'm looking forward to that, EB, because there's so many fun gifts that are out there for the theme park fan in your life.
Yeah, there are, and we'll have a lot of new stuff on the holiday gift guide this year. So it's a fun show every year that we do. It's a nice tradition that we have, and Dwayne, I think, is becoming a tradition as well. So Thanks again to him coming on. And speaking of tradition, speaking of holidays, Mike, we have the next coasterradio.com meetup planned. It is happening June 21st in Southern California. That's a Friday in June 21st. We don't quite know the park, we don't quite know the details, but we know the date. So book a trip to Southern California. June 21st is the day you want to be there. A couple days on the either end of that, I think, Mike, just in case we decide to do something else fun.
Yeah.
But that's what you need to start planning on right now. Plan your summer vacation now.
Yeah, everybody, give us about 2 weeks. 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Give us 2 weeks. I bet you in 2 weeks we'll have some more concrete info for you. I really do.
Yeah.
Because we're working behind the scenes on some stuff. Might be a little different than what we've done at meetups before, but we've got some good ideas. And I'd say 2 weeks at the least, but maybe right at the beginning of 2019 we'll have the entire itinerary ready to roll.
Yeah, but you know the date now, so you can start thinking ahead and making that your plan. So June 21st in Southern California, the next coasterradio.com meetup.
Yes. Now that meetup and many of the other things that you hear at the coasterradio.com podcast are brought to you by our friends at Patreon.
That's right. Patreon.com/CoasterRadio. You can support Coaster Radio month after month by pledging your support, your financial support. Keep the podcast going. We put all of that money back into content. And I mean, so much has grown out of the Patreon. All of the extra content that you guys are hearing, the behind the scenes, the extra episodes of CoasterRadio.com, the Snail Mail Club. Who's paying for that P.O. box that I got, right?
Yeah.
So thanks to all of our patrons over there at Patreon.com/CoasterRadio, especially those at the $20 level.
They are Brad Brinkman, John Brody, Rick Burnley, Stephen Coriel, Dan the T-Shirt Guy Miller, Gregory Delaney, Tony DePhillips, French Coaster, Marshall the Big EZ Hider, Timmy Young, Matt from Yorkshire, Neil Patrick Harris, Jordan Hill, Brian Conson, Kevin McGauley, Chris Rankin, David Sakala, David Iwanowicz, the Y Family, Kevin Wilson, Tim Wilson, and a pledge in memory of Alex Schachter.
That's right. And our honorary executive producers, Todd Hout Slater and Brian Wackler.
All right. Thank you guys so much. Another episode in the books, EB. So I'm heading back up. I've got to get up to the nursery, man. I heard it. I took my headphones off for a second. Actually, I heard the baby screaming so loud that it was coming through the soundproofing in the studio. That's what was happening.
I think that was Izzy. Yeah. What are you doing down there? Get back up here.
Yeah, like, why are you doing a theme park podcast? I need help. So
I've got a weekly podcast. It's called I'm Locking Myself in the Car and Taking a Nap. That's what she's going to tell you.
I think so. I have to ask one question real quick before we go. When you had your kids and they were babies, did we do Coaster Radio? Did you actually like come over to my house and do the show? How did you do that? I don't even know.
You got to pay it forward, Mike. That's what it is. You got to put in a lot of time to get some time.
Good for you, EB, because I'm exhausted, and if I had to like actually pick up and go somewhere to do a podcast right now, I don't know if I would do it. I don't know. It was enough for me to like climb down the stairs and come into the studio tonight to do it. So good on you, man. You did that for a long time. That was great.
I think you got to get into a good habit of taking turns. That's what it is.
I think so. We'll talk more about it. And this is when the off-topic episode that we do for Patreon is going to be fun this week.
I can't wait. We got to do that next week, and I want to get all the baby details.
I'll give them all to you there. So that's for all you Patreon guys. You'll hear the off-topic of that coming up. So, guys, thank you so much for being here for another episode of the Original Theme Park Podcast. We'll see you next week. Cool.
Yeah, great.
All right, great. Let me save that real quick. How are you feeling, man? Do you want to break off and then, not do the behind the scenes? Or are you good?
We can do 5 minutes.
Okay,
minutes.
hang on one second. 13. This is 13:09.
Yes.
Okay, let me save that. Guys, thank you so much for being here for another week. We'll see you back here next week. We got another show for you then. Thanks, guys. Have a good night. Bye.
Bye, guys.